look where you want to go. It sounds simple, right? And it sounds intuitive, like duh. I want to tell you guys a funny little story about this. So you guys will know about me that I collect mentors. I have a good handful or so right now that are both male and female that help me on a regular basis, that are my friends, that are people I interact with, whatever, mentors, coaches, etc. Now, I wanted to share this story because it made me laugh and it made me have a different realization about life that I appreciate. So I wanted to share because as I'm learning, what I love to do here specifically lately is really share what I'm learning, like the lessons that I'm intimately understanding and understanding. Those are the things that I share with you guys because I fundamentally know these are not just things I'm saying like, oh, do this and maybe it'll help. No, these are things that I have tested and I know that they work. I'm not just saying them for fluff, for fun, to make content for giggles. I nearly swore there. I'm doing better with that, cleaning up my potty mouth. Anyway, what I wanted to share was this story was about how this particular mentor was recently learning to snowboard. Now, if any of you know me, you'll know that I used to ski a lot when I was younger. I love to ski. I do still love. I just don't have skis anymore, yada, yada. So this particular mentor was learning to snowboard. Now, what you'll know about snowboarding that is different, say, from skiing is that when you're skiing, you have two independent wheels, your feet, if you will, they operate separately, and yet you have to get them to work together in order to ski properly, I guess you could say. Well, snowboarding, guess what? Your feet are locked in. So 2 feet, but instead of operating independently where you can do this sort of thing, you're locked into place. So you have to move together like this. And I've always sort of found that comical because I always thought to myself, like, man, if I tried to snowboard, I would just fall over because my feet, the whole being stuck to one thing and not having that independent operations just doesn't work for my balance, and I just go toppling over. Comically, I can sort of kind of skateboard, but that's like maybe different balance. I don't know. Anyway, because wheels and things. Long story long, what was funny about that was they were sharing how one of the techniques you use in order to learn, I guess, to snowboard better is that you look where you're wanting to go. Now, I cackled hysterically when I heard this because it's such an intuitive and like, duh kind of thing. And yet so often we don't do that. Now, what am I talking about? I'm not just talking about in the case of like skiing or snowboarding where literally it's a technique for you to get where you're going. You have to look that way. We get to look that way. Well, guess what, Buttercup? That doesn't just apply to skiing or snowboarding. That also applies to your life. What do I mean by that? What I mean is, let's say you have a goal. I'm trying to think of something completely random. Let's say your goal is to sell, we'll use a completely ridiculous example just so that everybody knows it's not about them in particular. Let's say that your goal is to have a chocolate-covered banana stand. Yeah, sure, why not, right? And P.S., if I can find an AI image for this, it would be freaking amazing and hilarious. Anyway, let's say you want to have a chocolate banana stand. Do you think, let me ask you this question, do you think that if you don't, for example, buy some bananas, if you don't, for example, buy chocolate, if you, for example, don't make the chocolate covered bananas, do you think that you'll be going anywhere? No. Now, what I'm sharing is that it's funny because yes, in a very practical sense, when we do something physical, like learn to play the piano, learn to play an instrument, ski, snowboard, I don't know, maybe swim or something, we get to look where we're going. And we do that very naturally and very intuitively for the most part. What I think is interesting and kind of funny about that is that when it comes to goal setting, things outside of the like, okay, I'm going to do 15 sets of this yoga move in order to build this muscle strength, A, B, C type deal. What we don't often what we don't often consider, and I wanted to share in this video, is that it's also very important, not just, again, if you're doing something physical like rollerblading, biking, to look where you're going, also within the context of your goals, to look ahead to where you're going, to give yourself, and this was imprinted in me more deeply yesterday, because you are going there. You need that vision. A vision gives your manifestations a place to go, to know that they're going. It gives your manifestations a sense of direction, as weird and interesting as that may be to you as a new perspective. So I wanted to hop on here and just share that. Perhaps if you're trying to get somewhere and you aren't getting there, I'd invite you hilariously and lovingly to look at if you're actually looking ahead to where you want to go. Are your eyes on the prize, for lack of a better saying? Sincerely, it matters. And what's both hilarious and amazing to me is that it works. Since I have shifted my focus to one thing, and when I tell you that that has not been an easy job, I'm not kidding. It's a challenge for me to focus on one thing. Your girl is at Aries. I have fire all over the place. I am very fiery. Yeah, lots of like do energy, but also that tends to often mean that I'm scattered in many places. So it's harder for me to laser in. However, that being said, when I laser in and nothing external to that exists. And I mean nothing, which is a side tangent for another video anyway. So I wanted to invite you to, if you're perhaps not getting where you want to be, to check in with yourself and see if you're looking ahead to specifically where you want to go. And I don't just mean this on a practical sense either. You can do this very impactfully on a meditative level. What I mean is go into meditation and visualize. And if you're thinking, oh, I can't visualize, you can. You've just turned off that ability probably, and it will just take you some time to get used to it. There are ways to build your visualization skills. But again, topic for another video is imprinting and how to like work on, maybe actually comment below. Let me know if you guys are interested in a video on how to increase your like visualization powers within meditation. For instance, if you're not able to see, some things you could do. Let me know, comment below if that interests you. At any rate, looking ahead to where you're wanting to go is so important. And with a vision, go into meditation and craft yourself, I guess you could say. Imagine yourself the vision for the life you want to live. And what's funny is notice how much faster things then start to happen. I just want to add a small caveat to that, which is that things will happen according to the speed that you're comfortable with, which means it's going to be according to your own personal capacity in that specific moment. So frankly, if your guides, your team, your whatever, and you aren't aligned for the right thing, you might not be able to take on that yet. You may need to increase your capacity. Many tangents for future videos, not tangents, other important topics for future videos that we will touch on in the future, I'm sure. I hope this has shared a little bit of comedy that you essentially, I don't want to say you can't get where you're going without looking there, because obviously you kind of can, but you're going to have think about if you were trying to get to the bathroom in the dark in the middle of the night in a new place, you like are maybe going to fumble over a lot of things on the way. So in an effort to smooth out your journey, I'm here offering you what I've learned. So look ahead to where you're going and craft yourself a beautiful vision, which, by the way, side note to that, but very important, if you're going to do that, write down your vision. And as you may or may not have heard, if you want to increase the potency of that, read it every morning when you get up first thing, and every night before you go to sleep, read that vision so that your mind is imprinted with this vision of where you're going ahead. So if this video has helped you, or you know anyone who it would also help, please do share it to them. It really helps me out. Subscribe, as it's free, and as a small content creator, it really helps me out if you do subscribe so that I can make content that more helps you if you guys engage with me. And last but not least, if you, my beautiful spirit soul, need any support, feel free to reach out at this email address here, where it would be my absolute pleasure to serve you. Have a beautiful, blessed rest of your day or night, and I will see you, beautiful cats, in the next video. Thanks for being here with me. Namaste and much love. Bye. Have a beautiful, blessed day. But look about, I nearly swore there. So you have to move together like this. Think about if you were trying to get to the bathroom in the dark in the middle of the night in a new place, you like are maybe going to fumble over a lot of things on the way. To give someone the gift of accepting who they are is literal magic, sort of the key to life. Buttercup.